regarding so that you can also. If you are talking, that voice will be conserved, and we don't want that to happen. So, what is the first experiment we have? Yes. Understanding? Okay. So, what is ARP? Address? So, what does it do? IP address to MAC address. Translates or finds what does it do? Translates. So basically, when we consider ARP, we said like we have some IP address and we want to find out what is the corresponding MAC address. So what happens is, if I have some source to destination, some kind of communication, and if I have some routers which are there in between, if a packet is coming to this particular router, it has to identify. So, if ARP, you are going to have two things. One is ARP request, other one is ARP reply. So, we have different schemes for ARP request and reply. Packet format is same. Basically, you are going to have source IP address, destination IP address, target IP address, and target MAC address. These are the things you are going to have in this ARP. Okay, source IP, source MAC, target IP, target MAC. We won't be having exactly the same sequence, but these are the contents you are going to have in both ARP request and reply. So whenever you are sending the request, do you know what is the target MAC ID and target IP address? Whether that information is available with you? Okay, we'll go one by one. Source IP, you know? Yes. Because you are the source, right? You will be sending. Okay. What about source MAC? Yes. Source MAC also it will be available. Target IP? We'll be having, right? With that only we are sending the packet. What about target MAC? We won't have target MAC address. So, what is the content we have to fill? That is a question here. Okay. So again, going back to our ARP concept, request will be broadcasted, reply will be unicasted. Okay. ARP request, it will be broadcasted. ARP reply, it will be unicasted. So if you remember the MAC addresses, we told MAC address will be of 6 bytes. Okay. So you are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bytes. In the first byte, LSB bit, least significant bit, talks about whether the MAC address is unicast address or multicast address or broadcast. Broadcast, you are going to have all bits once. That means all 48 bits. If I keep one, that packet will be broadcast. So here we will be keeping all ones. So what we are going to observe in this experiment is, we are going to create a scenario like you are going to have L2 switch, a router will be there, L2 switch. When I say L2 switch, this is layer 2. You are going to have a node here, another node here, 1, 2, another wire node 3. Like this, we will be creating a scenario. And our intention is, we want to send some information from this node to this node. That is our intention. So basically, even though it has to go here, the packet has to go to switch, and from switch it has to go here. So ARP packet, it has to be broadcasted, right? So from here it goes here. This switch, it will be broadcasting to this one and also this, because this switch does not have any idea whether the target is available here or here. But the router has idea, like whatever the IP address we are saying, that is in this location only. Okay, because of which the router is not forwarding the ARP broadcast to the other. Okay, because router has that intelligence to look at the IP address and find out whether it falls this side or the other side. Okay, like that broadcast will happen. After that, this one receives, right, and this node it has to give reply. So the reply message comes from here to here and L2 to this. So we are going to observe this packet exchange. First broadcasted, then unicast. This is first scenario. In second scenario, we want to communicate from 1 to 3. Okay, first node to third node. Then router will be involved. So what router does is, whenever a broadcast packet of ARP comes to the router, it says like, you forward the packet to me, I will take care of forwarding to the corresponding node. So what will be the sequence of actions here is, we are going to have ARP request, okay, from here to L2, and again from L2 to router you are going to have, L2 to this node you are going to have, and router will be responding to L2 with ARP reply. Okay, so the data whatever you want to send, the data will be traveling to this. After that, this again sends a request message or broadcast that request message here, and this node will be respond. That is the sequence of messages we will be observing. Okay, so like this. Okay, so everyone can click on new simulation. Okay, then click on internetworks. Okay, so first we need to create the scenario. As I told, you are going to have one router, two switches, and three nodes. So everyone drag three wired nodes. How to do? See here, we have node available here, right? If you click, it will give option whether you want to go with wired node or wireless node. Click on that. Select wired node. Somewhere at the bottom you place three nodes. Make sure we have sufficient distance between the nodes. You just need on the environment node will be placed. 3 times you click so that 3 nodes will be coming. See, if you keep on clicking on that environment, more number of nodes will be coming. Okay. So it's better if close complete environment and open again if you are getting more number of nodes. Or you can click here. Write something. See, the other possibility is you right click so that it will be unselected. Right click. See, you need to have sufficient space. No, second is here, third. After placing the nodes, next thing is L2 switches. Drag two L2 switches. Again, in the click switch, you have two options. One is L2, one is L3. Okay, place two L2 switches. Everyone, then place router. Then we need to establish connection between the nodes. For that, what you need to do is click on wired node. First, click on this wired or wireless. Under section links, we have wired or wireless. You just select that. Click on node 1. Click on switch. First switch. Then node 2 and switch. See, always it is better you follow the same procedure whatever we are saying. The reason is sometimes what we will do is, for example, if I had said like node 1 to switch, node 2 to switch, then if I had said node 3 to this one, okay, that will be your third link, right? And if I am saying like set properties for third link, and if you have given third link from L2 to R6, then that will be issue. Okay, so that's the reason. Whatever the connections we are saying, same manner if you follow, you can set properties easily. Okay, next you connect from L2 to router. L2 switch first one to router. Okay. Then wired node 3 to L2 switch 5. Wired node 3 to L2 switch 5. Done. Next L2 switch 5 to router 6. See, the procedure is very simple. Even like if you see your manual, at some point it is written procedure, right? Under the diagram, you have procedure. Okay. Okay, let's see that one. What is the first step we have? In network scenario is designed with 3 wide nodes, 2 switches, and 1 router. Okay. In which topology we have created? In internet. Okay. Then go to wide node 1 properties. All of you right click on node 1 property. Okay. Under that, click on transport layer. So when you click on transport layer, you can see we have 2 things. One is TCP, one is UDP. Whenever we are using ARP, it is mandatory like you need to disable TCP. The reason why we want TCP to be disabled is, if you enable TCP, there is no use of ARP. With TCP messages, you won't be able to observe ARP packet exchange. That is the reason we are disabling TCP. Okay, so disable TCP and click OK. Okay, and next, see what is the next property you have. We need to come up with some application, right, to transfer data. So you can click here, application icon is there, right, at the top. You click that. So you can just see there what are the different parameters we have. So first thing is, it is asking whether it is unicast communication or multicast, or you will also have broadcast. Okay. So for this experiment, we are not changing all those things. What we need for this experiment is, we just have to specify what is the source and what is the destination. Okay. So what is the source? Source node is 1. Destination, you need to change, but what is the number of that one? For first scenario, we will be going with second node. What is the ID you have for that? 2. So select destination as 2. See, always remember in NetSim, what they are doing is, the identity of the node is given in the sequence how you are placing the nodes. Okay, it's not like if you are keeping 3 nodes, it will be given 1, 2, 3. Again, place 2 switches, it won't give 1 and 2. From 4 it will start. Okay, because in source and destination, the ID can be selected appropriately. And also here, if you scroll down, we have some information about what is the size of packet. So packet size 1460. That means we are sending 1460 bytes. Okay, and the distribution is constant. Remember, for this experiment, we are going with constant. But there is one experiment where we will be changing the distribution also. Okay, and the inter-arrival time also 20,000. Okay, and you can just click OK. A line will appear from node 1 to node 2. Y to node 1 to Y to node 2. Right? See, maybe at some place you have left some space after experiments, right? Then what we should do is, for each experiment, what are the important things we are following? For this experiment, the important thing is TCP should be disabled in wide node 1. The next thing is application. What application you are using? You are trying to send PBR, constant bitrate information from node 1 to node 2. Just note down small points. Okay. If you see manual, they are also talking about 1460 and 20,000. But that is not important. Whether you keep 1460, 20,000 or 10,000, whatever may be the value, your result will not change. That is the reason we are not talking about that. The important things are TCP should be disabled and you need to have communication from wide node 1 to wide node 2. Done, everyone? Okay. So we have created a scenario. Then next thing is you need to click on packet trace. Click on packet trace. Again, what is packet trace is you are going to have some of the values like you can see here. Packet ID, segment ID, packet type, what is the control packet type, complete information about this simulation you are going to capture in a file. Okay. So if you want those things to be captured, you need to select packet trace. We are not selecting anything. Default whatever we have that you are going to keep and click OK. So again you can note down we need to enable packet tracer. Then go to run. Okay, you see here the things what we have. Simulation time we have that we can vary actually. Then packet animation where we have option record animation. Then we also have play and record animation, don't play or record animation. So whenever we have some experiment where we want to see packet flow, then we can go with record animation or play and record animation. If you do not want to see the packet flows, then we can go with don't play or record animation. The reason is when we click play and record animation, even though we specify simulation time as 1 second, it takes more than a minute. Okay. So here we will consider 1 second, that is enough. You can just keep 1 second here. And for this experiment, we want to see animation. So click play and record animation. Then go to static ARP configuration. Static ARP configuration. So static ARP is enabled, but for this experiment, you need to disable that. Everyone should disable static. Yeah. Again, the important things I am repeating. TCP is disabled in wide node 1. Okay. Application we are generating CBR wide node 1 to wide node 2. Static ARP we are disabling. Then packet tracer we are enabling. Okay. After that you can click accept. Click OK. It takes time to simulate that. After simulating, you get several windows. Then Everyone are in simulation results window. Okay. So we are going to have three windows. One is simulation results. We will come back to that later. Minimize. We are going to have another one, network packet animation. Okay. The other window is where you have created your network. Okay. So first we will try to observe network packet animation, netsim packet animation. So you can just turn this side. So we will try to reduce animation speed so that we can clearly capture what is happening. You can decrease, complete. Yeah. And we shall try to play. Stop. Stop this. You try to observe the messages. Basically, I want to get from the beginning again, so I am doing it again. Minimize. Decrease animation. Play and pause. Pause. This. Okay, if you have observed, maybe in your case also you can observe. A packet has been broadcasted from here to here and here to there. Okay. Again, just play and pause. Pause. See here. Again, ARP request is going. From this side, ARP reply is coming because already you have sent ARP request, right? Okay. Again, play and pause. Request is also going to that place. Then pause. ARP reply, like from wide node 2 to switch 4, it came, and again from switch 4 to this node, ARP reply came back. After the ARP reply reaches here, you will observe app CBR1 going from node 1 to L2. You can play again. App 1 CBR. Already it went from here to here. Now it is going from this one to this. Okay. So you can play for some time. See here continuously that application 1, like you can see CBR1, CBR2, that means different packets will be there, right? So they are going to node 2. Okay. You can stop and minimize that also. Go to results. Yeah. So we created some packet tracer, right? Open packet tracer. Anyway, I will tell all these things again. You can just observe. Yes, wait. You will get an Excel sheet where complete information will be available. Maximize. So, okay. If you observe here, we have packet ID, segment ID, packet type. What is a control packet type? Like you are going to have some control packets. Within that, what is the corresponding packet type? Source ID, destination ID. And remember, source ID and destination ID different from transmitter ID and receiver ID. So source and destination are nothing but what is the starting position of the message and where it has to reach. That is source and destination. And transmitter ID, receiver ID, if you have some intermediate router which is forwarding that particular packet, then transmitter ID will be that one. And if I have another intermediate router which will be receiving, and if it is not the destination, you are going to have that ID there. Okay. So when I observe this particular case, first thing it will be going from 1 to L2. Okay. We will see here packet ID is 0 and this is control packet and it is ARP request. From where it is coming, source ID is node 1, destination ID is broadcast 0. We do not have any destination ID, right? We are just broadcasting that packet. So we are saying destination ID is broadcast packet. Okay. Who is the transmitter? Transmitter and source both are Same in the first case. So node 1. Who is receiving the packet? Switch 4. Okay. This is the one which is receiving the packet. So we are having that. So that is the first packet which you might have observed in animation. Then second one, same packet ID will be forwarded, right? Packet ID will not change. Same control packet, ARP packet. Who is the sender? Source is node 1, destination is broadcast 0. But who is the transmitter now? It is switch. Okay, switch 4 to whom it is sending? Node 2. Okay, so first from node 1 to switch 2 it is going and switch to this node. Okay, that information is there. Then again we have another ARP request. What is that? From switch it is also going to router, right? So that you can see here. ARP request. The actual source is node 1. Destination is broadcast message. And who is the transmitter? Switch 4. Receiver is router 6. Okay, so total 3 ARP requests forwarded. From here to here 1, here to here, and here to here. Then this one will be sending reply, right? So see here, ARP reply, source is node 2. What is the destination? Node 1. Node 1. The difference you need to observe is for ARP request we had broadcast. For ARP reply we have unicast. Okay. Then transmitter is node 2, but receiver it is not node 1, but you are sending to switch first. So switch 4 we have. Then again switch will be forwarding to node. Node 2 to node 1, that is the source and destination. Transmitter is switch 1, receiver is node 1. After that, you can see different application packets. APP1, that means CBR packet 1. Similarly, if I have APP2, that will be application CBR with packet 2. Okay, like that we are going to have node 1 to node 2. Okay, node 1 will forward to switch 4, switch 4 will forward to node 2. Okay. Like that, you are going to have all these. So what we need to observe is all these first 5 entities. Okay, is it clear for everyone? Okay, now you can simulate, try to see animation and understand. Okay, we can run it. In the result, you can draw this scenario and try to write over there like what are the sequence of actions happening. Carefully read what is going from node 1 to switch and also switch to node 2 and router. Then request is coming. Like whatever the sequence you have, that you write over. Okay, that will be your result. So whatever I said that you can write even by looking at the table in your manual. In your manual you have right. And the 2.7 output 1, you have a table, same packet laser. Okay. So we don't want to waste time in writing the results now because we have less time, right? We will go with scenario 2. This is the first scenario we have created, right? So close this. At the end, it will ask for saving. Close. No. You don't have to save packet tracer. Close. Close this one also. When it asks for saving this experiment, click on save. Try to click workspace path. You can just mention your last 4 numbers and you can write HP1 S1 scenario 1, right? Maybe. Everyone are done with? Then right, first one, everyone, you can close the sample. Again, you will get the first window where you have option to select new experiment Excel. Meanwhile, others, you can just read what is scenario. Second scenario we have created. Okay, those who are yet to do, you can just open the first one. Go to open simulation and you can open the first one. We will edit that. Okay, those who have created, that is fine, no problem. So if you have opened existing one, you can click save as. Save as. Same procedure. Instead of S1, you are going to have S2. Everyone have done with network. Go to application. Source will be 1, destination is 3. Okay, we will be sending from 1 to 3. Make that change. Again, you need to click packet tracer. Don't forget to click packet tracer. Click OK. Again, in run also, static ARP it should be disabled. Static ARP it should be disabled. Done, everyone? Everyone simulated second one. Have you observed the animation for second one? Yes. So you can see here. So first ARP request, it is being broadcasted from node 1 to switch, and again switch is broadcasting to router and this one. This is same as previous one. First three messages same. Okay. Okay. So ARP reply basically it came from router, and you can see that it's reaching this point. So basically there is slight change here. Like by the time you see ARP reply here, still like you can see like first CBR packet is going already. Okay, but in general it won't happen. After ARP reply comes, it will be going. But slight change with respect to simulation, because of which we are able to see app1 going before this ARP reply reaching the node. But when we go to Excel sheet, we can clearly see first ARP reply will be coming, then application will be going. Okay, you can play it. So after that, you can see a request message has been broadcasted from this, and that is reaching here. And we will see reply will be coming opposite direction. See, reply is coming. After that, application data will go now. The application data is going. Continuous. So you can see continuously application will be going this way. Okay, now we'll try to see Excel sheet. Go to Excel sheet. So earlier, if you remember, we had all these things same. Like first three messages, they are same. Like node 1 to switch, switch to router, switch to another node. They are same. Node 1 to broadcast, node 1 broadcast, node 1 broadcast. It is going from node 1 to switch 4, switch 4 to router 6, switch 4 to node 2. But next thing, when we see ARP reply, the reply is coming from not node 2, but router. Router 6 is sending to node 1, router 6 is sending to node 1, and router 6 is forwarding to switch 4, switch 4 is forwarding to node 1. Okay. After that, your application is coming. You are sending application to router. Then router is sending requests, broadcasting to the other domain. This domain it is forwarding. So it will be going from here to here, here to here. So you can see router 6 is broadcasting. It is going from router 6 to switch 5 to node 3. When it reaches node 3 will be sending reply. Node 3 to router 6. Node 3, node 3 to switch 5 to router 6. And then application will be forwarded from router 6 to node 3. Okay. That is the difference we have when we go with this. Okay. So what is the difference we are observing? In the first one, router was not involved in sending application data. But when we have connection from 1 to 3, in the second one, router is also involved in sending data. And router, even though this is not the destination, it is saying to the other side like forward the packets to router. Router will take care of forwarding to the other nodes. In that case, this is acting like proxy ARP. Basically, you people will give proxy attendance, right? The same way, we have proxy ARP. The router is acting on behalf of this node and it is getting all the packets and it is forward. Okay. So when a question comes on ARP, if you don't remember anything, at least if you remember these scenarios, you can draw them and explain the procedure. Okay, done. You can just observe those things. After that, we'll go for next experiment.